Hello, YouTube. I am the Skinshifter, and today we're going to make fun of the internet a little bit, or rather, we might argue with it. But first, can I just have we ever talked on the channel, like explicitly, about how much I hate thumbnails and just how bad the art of thumbnails is? Just have we ever discussed that? It's not going to let me do what I want to do. But can we just for a second talk about how just gay this is? And I do actually mean not homosexual. Oh, it's homosexual as fuck. Homos are fine. I've done sex with dudes. I don't care about you being gay. But like this is what we meant in eighth grade when we were like, "No, you're gay, dude. No, you're gay, dude," and we were making fun of one another. The mini guitar. Why is he shirtless? Why are they smiling like that? It's like in my head, I see this, and you got the one here on the left, whatever his name is, pop guy, Ed Sheeran wrote all those songs for pop girls. He's going, look, dude, I'm playing a G chord. And then on the right over here, you got Dickhead from the Darkness. And can we just remember when we used to roundly pan and only make fun of the Darkness? This band is trash. I watched Taylor Hawkins' channel during COVID because I had nothing better to do. This guy's a fucking junkie and a loser. Like, come on. And look, this was not their ideas, right? This wasn't their ideas. This is record producer bullshit. This is producer record label bullshit. But he's going, look at my G chord. And then Taylor Hawkins is over here going, look, I'll play an A chord. And then over here, Ed Sheeran or whatever his name is going, man, I wish there were a Y chord so our G and our A chord could have a baby like Elton John. It's so gay. Who clicks on this? Who wants to see that? I know that their fans are all lesbians or something, but who wants this? I think it's hilarious. And so anyway, we're going to make fun of the internet because Rachel's not doing well. She needs to be sleeping, and I have to draw an income. There is just no choice. Oh no, you see my desktop? Oh, that's weird. That's not what's supposed to be there. Well, damn. I'll have to find that. That's not what it said y'all could see on my... give me a second here. Why is it doing... That's not what it's supposed to be showing. Oh, my... Of course, OBS is gonna just decide it doesn't work now. That's frustrating. Thank you for telling me. Boom. That's me. Well, I'm never gonna get that back. It's never gonna bring that page back. Yeah, it's gone forever. Oh well. That's me. Sort of. I don't know why that is the way it is. I don't know why I did that. It wasn't supposed to. Okay. So I saw that thumbnail with Taylor Hawkins and the pop guy from London, and we just understand that all of the music, but most especially the pop music coming out of London specifically. I see what happened. I broke that when I pulled it out of the tab. That's weird to me, but whatever, it makes sense. We do understand that everything coming out of specifically London is just garbage, right? We understand that London is a garbage city full of garbage people, right? London is where the banking of the world is done. It's where the remnants of the British Empire exist, and when we understand that the British Empire was evil, that's why there were so many revolutions against it, right? Like, we understand this. And we do, not, my channel's not actually going to have anything for me to yell at, because I cultivate my channel, fuckers. I cultivate what comes to me. So it's not going to send me anything that pisses me off in the same way that my professional channel does. It's just not going to show me anything that upsets me, because it's not stupid, because I don't click like on things that I don't actually like. I don't watch things that I don't actually want to watch. Oh my god. Wait a minute. AVGN still exists? Yeah, this has to happen. Which means that I got to get audio for this in here. Mrs. Shaggy will get better when she's beaten cancer or when she's in the ground. We'll find out which. When we find out. No, not one existing. Oh no, they changed this. Okay, here we go. Rachel has cancer, Char. Okay. So, here's my thing. Here's a question that I have. Why am I not allowed to be genuinely funny, genuinely good looking, and an actually angry nerd? Right? A question I have. We could click on this one, because I know this one's terrible. This is the only one I've ever clicked on, and it's why this channel, I immediately started playing the Final Fantasy games about 2 years ago, because I heard him say the Final Fantasy. He starts this with a bunch of lies and inaccuracies. So they're either lies because he knows that what he's saying is untrue, or they're just malignant inaccuracies because he doesn't actually know what he's saying. So he's either a useful idiot for someone, Cinemassacre, because what this doesn't say is angry video game nerd. It says Cinemassacre. So he's an employee of someone. It's none of your business, Jackie. It's the kind that kills. And Pepsi took away her health care shortly after I moved down here. She doesn't talk about it. She doesn't really want me talking about it, but that's where we are. And so I want to know why this guy gets to exist and why he gets to have access to 4.02 million subscribers. Those are not his 4.02 million subscribers, his 4,020,000. Those are Cinemassacre's 4.02 million subscribers. And if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure that Cinemassacre are the everything that's wrong with movies videos that are also either deliberately lying or so malignantly misinformed or uninformed that they too are just useful idiots. So they're either liars who are deliberately doing harm, or they're useful idiots. When a useful idiot is someone who speaks without knowledge, without any actual knowing of what they're saying, and makes someone else money. So Cinemassacre is making someone money, or they're malignant liars. And they're paying this guy enough money that he's no longer managing his own channel. These things are all true no matter what you want to believe about the circumstances. And so now I'm going to click into this and we're going to watch it until it pisses me off, which is going to be seconds. I already hate the thumbnail. I hate thumbnails. I hate anyone who uses a thumbnail like this. This was still AI generated, but it's designed to look like fan art. So they're not even getting fan art anymore. Ah! Come on! Come on! Ah! Now, I just want to say, you guys have actually listened to me freak out. I freaked all the way out on Rachel tonight. I freaked all the way out on Rachel and DRG the other night. You guys have heard angry video game freakouts, and is that what they sound like? You didn't pry. I just answered it the way I did. You can't even fake being angry anymore because they have to turn their mics up so hot in order to capture this because they don't believe it, that if he actually went to the place, they would have to actually engineer their audio. They would have to turn the mics down, they'd have to compress it properly, and they'd have to have a person who can actually go to the part and yell. Someone who can just on command go, "What the fuck?" And it sound real because it's real and it comes from a really angry place. This guy's not angry.
Oh, I won. I beat Bubble Bobble. Again, just like in my childhood. I beat this game.
This is so... Now it's overacted. I beat this game. I gotta reach to this empathetic place because I totally did this. I don't believe him, by the way. When you have to overact like this, when you have to make it so empathetic and you have to work so hard, look at the downturned mouth, look at the eyes, look at the eyebrows. This is overacting. This is trying to be Hollywood. But who? Yeah, this is what we sound like, Mr. S. This is trying to be empathetic. This is trying to get sympathy. Somebody was asking me what a pocket protector is the other day. This is what a pocket protector is the other day. She doesn't want anyone to know, Jar, but it's part of my life. It's part of my show. So we're taking the opportunity to move past it and get work done. And the work that needs to be done right now is the critiques of people that have access to millions of customers, not Rachel. We don't need to be talking about Rachel right now. This isn't that stream. This is the previous stream that nobody wanted to watch. And so nobody wants to watch a stream about a girl with cancer unless she's a pretty white girl. And unfortunately, Rachel was just not born pretty or white. So it just is what it is. And so anyway, this is fake. And you see how many, the multi-cameras, the multi-shots, the perfect light, oh, I can make funny faces. This is fake. Yes, it was an on-hour series of unfortunate events.
Oh, I won.
Yeah? Then why do you look like you came?
I beat Bubble Bobble.
No, you didn't. This, you see the way his face did right there? Did everybody catch that?
Oh, I won. I beat Bubble Bobble.
Now look at his eye right there. You see the way he closes his eyes right there and his face slackens? That's not the emotion relief because this stays bunched up. The whole face did not fall. Only this part of the face fell, which means that he's relieved that he no longer has to hold the lie. He can do relief here because he no longer has to hold the convincing lie that he has ever beaten Bubble Bobble.
Again, just like in my childhood. I beat this game every week.
No, you didn't. You see this? That right there? That's the face of a liar. He has to scrunch his face up like this because there's no truth to that. If he had beaten this game frequently, he would grin because this should be difficult. And no, yeah, Mr. S. James doesn't write this. Obviously, this is a cold read. He's sitting down and reading a teleprompter for the first time. And yeah, AVGN has always done this for the money. He was the first person to get big at it, but that doesn't mean that it comes from a place of originality or authenticity. This isn't original to him. This is what he's portraying is what video game nerds used to actually be like. We used to be totally emotionally immature children who would hyperfixate on these games and throw temper tantrums the whole time. But beating it was orgasmic joy, not this. I did this, like it was forced upon him, like at the beginning of that Guns N' Roses music video, like he's in Welcome to the Jungle. Like, can't you just see it now? Like this guy strapped to that machine with his eyeballs all typed open and he's got to play Bubble Bobble. No, he had to play Bubble Bobble for a little while for this channel and he hated it because he hates us, because there's got to be a better way for someone moderately attractive with an expensive beard to make money than lying about video games. You see it all over his fucking face. And like that none of these is lit up so you can see them means that none of these is real. They're not actually themed. None of these is real. You can kind of vaguely know what they are, but if he wanted you to know what they are, this shot would be lit and you would be able to see them. Do you know how I know that? The video game stores, which start as collectors, do light these up, and they make sure that they're perfectly legible so that people like me can pause and we can do this. What's back there?
And
Actually,
same thing.
some Sega titles without like
Bad
the
end.
titles
This is not a
visible.
true ending. Try again with your friend.
Hey, shut the hell up. I'm trying to work. God damn, you talk too fucking much. What the fuck's up there? Some Sega titles that you can't read. What are those? Yeah, can't read a one of them. You can try. If you zoom this in, and they know this, they did this on purpose. If you zoom this in, it digitizes it so you can't see it. So I see Back to the Future, I think, but that's a movie, so I don't think that's what that is. This is noticeable. That's a Superman title. I think these are VHS, which is annoying because those aren't video games. You're telling me that with 3 million subscribers, your producers can't afford to fill this out with video games? Give me a break. This is from some obscure system, right? Like 32X or whatever. So those are definitely empty and aged. None of these is real. You can tell that none of them is real because they're not made to look so that you can see them. They're not made to look legible. Look at them. Not a one of them. Not a one of these titles is recognizable as what it is. That's deliberate. You're telling me that what they couldn't do is afford a shelf like every single nerd that has lighting on it, but they could afford a shelf that was the exact distance of a VHS tape so that this could lean over and look neat, but it doesn't need to. You're telling me that they could afford a shelf the exact distance of an NES cartridge, but what they couldn't afford was lighting under these? Give me a break. They have 3.02 million subscribers. Let's see, 4 point. I underestimated. This is how you know that they don't actually have 4.02 million subscribers. They have 76,000 people who said, I will watch that later. Please don't stop being a channel so that we can have you as a channel. Because likes used to keep channels monetized back in the day when Cinemassacre and AVGN were different things. Back then, likes are what the advertisers looked at to tell you how much money you got whenever you read a read for them. Yeah, pet these eyebrows. Look how fake that expression is. Just pet these eyebrows for you. Just calm you down right there, little puppy. Yeah, it's okay. I know you're not really that mad. You can't be that mad. You have millions of dollars at your disposal. You can't be mad at anything other than how expensive hookers are.
You got nothing to be mad at. Look at this beard. You haven't had to trim or bother with this in a decade. Yeah, look at them teeth. Them teeth are too white for you to have any problems, buddy. Yeah, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. You don't even have to worry about your haircut getting too long so that you have to style it. You sit down in a chair and a lady keeps it exactly this length every day. Every day. You'll be okay. You'll be okay, James. None of this stuff that you're talking about really happened. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, $4.02 million and you're telling me they can't afford lighting? Suck a dick. They have 4.02 million subscribers and not even a quarter of them like? Give me a break. Nobody watches that shit. This is so overproduced. The reason that it's no longer overproduced like this, besides that this is 2 years old and that was already 8 years old 2 years ago, the reason it remained overproduced like this is because he's trying to capitalize on old YouTube. This channel, Cinemassacre and AVGN and the producers and the people responsible for putting this in front of your eyeballs, they're trying to capitalize on people like me who remember the old internet, but people who, unlike me, are stupid enough to think that this is authentic and original. This was not made. Look, when AVGN started, he might isn't that AVGN? Yeah, when he started, he might have been a guy with some video editing talent and a little bit of on-screen talent and some desire to be in movies, because I know he was in a movie recently. That happened. How recently, I don't know, but people made a big deal about it. Like, oh my God, did you know that AVGN was in blah, blah, blah? Whatever. Cameo, whatever. He had some desire to be in movies. He had some desire to be in front of the camera. How do I know this? I sat and I listened to, this is going to sound like a non sequitur, but I sat and listened to way more hours of Ear Biscuits. I like that little square, so I'm going to trace it while I think about this to give you something to think about. Anyway, and when watch. I watched way too many hours of Ear Biscuits, the Good Mythical Morning podcast. I had nothing better to do, and I wanted market research. Like, well, who am I actually competing with if I decide that I want to get into YouTube? I'm competing with these fucking dumb shits? I think I can handle this. Anyway. Too many hours of Ear Biscuits, and the dumb shits I'm referring to aren't actually Rhett and Link. The dumb shits I'm referring to are the people who accidentally got famous on YouTube. They sat down with a bunch of people who accidentally got famous on YouTube. All of them were racist, closed-minded, deeply stupid, only barely graduated university if they did, and all of them wanted to be in front of a camera. They didn't care to the degree to which they were famous. What they knew is that they wanted to spend time in front of a camera. All of them. That's what they all shared in common. And so what I don't share in common with other YouTubers, as you can see, right, is the desire to be in front of a camera. I hate the camera. The camera is inefficient. My voice is effective. And frankly, even stealing this much imagery is just annoying to me. Somebody put an amount of effort into this, even though by the time this was made 2 years ago, it was extremely easy. You could just ask Gemini to make this, and then CapCut already had the AI generated music. This might have taken as many as 15 seconds to generate today, but it looks like it took the kind of time that 8-bit used to take. But look at it. Like, look at this image. Just look at this image. It's not actually 8-bit. You can see that it's not actually bits. This isn't even a good I'm pissed off face. And then the other thing that all of these people shared in common, these people who got famous on YouTube, whether they interviewed with Good Mythical Morning or I've followed their careers independently of this particular episode that I'm doing right now, what the other thing that all of those people shared is they're not good enough. They just weren't good enough. You think Jenna Marbles is actually funny? Do you think she's actually good enough? No, she was watchable because she's less good at everything than you are, and that just made you feel good about the things that you were good about, and so you tune on with her because she's your dumb friend. and she made millions. She made enough that she was able to actually disappear from the revenue. Like, she made that kind of revenue. And the point that I'm making as regards all of this is the likes. 4 million, only a quarter of them are liking. Not even, this one's better, but this one's 2 years old, so it had time for the people who liked it to circle back and watch it and share with their friends, and for those people to like it, and for other people to like it and say that they'd probably get around to it eventually, because I'm convinced that's what the like button is for, because you have a history of your likes. So you go through and you like the things you're not actually going to watch, and you can go back through your likes, like eds, and you can know what you've watched. Anyway, I'm done ranting about this intro. The reason this intro is the way this intro is because people like him did. Whether he did or did not, I do not know. He had the desire to be in front of a camera, and he wasn't good enough to do it in front of a television or a Hollywood camera. And so he went to YouTube. And my point is, whether he did or did not begin with video editing skills, a lot of these guys do. A lot of these guys, the intros to their videos, Rachel's all the time like, you should make an intro. That'll give you an opportunity to make a little animatic, and you could animate it, and that'd give you a little project, and then you can make a theme song. And the reason she's suggesting that is because in the early internet, guys like AVGN, channels like Cinemassacre, let's see if we just scroll down here and it gives us some other old internet stuff. Shit, Neebs, they used to do all these thumbnails they made. They didn't put those through AI like they do now. Now they put them through AI. Like, they made this. Thick doing this. They that shot. They made that. Thank you, Cindy. Let's see if they show me some others. No, they're not gonna. They're only gonna give me Neebs. But like they used to have to make this 6 years ago. That Zelda, that reason it looks like that the Cinemassacre, as an example, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Angry Video Game Nerd. The reason this looks the way it does, so pieced together and kind of like Reddit, not exactly the best video or image editing, but good enough that you know that they know their way around image and video editing software well enough to make it look like they don't. The watch later. See, I've never figured out how to get watch later, Mr. S. So not only is it underutilized, it's undercommunicated. I see it and I have no idea how to use it. I have never figured it out. When I do like watch later, it's just a playlist of stuff, and it's not in any particular order as far as like it's in the order that I put them in there, and I don't know. I've never figured out how to use watch later. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying you're probably right. And if they want us to utilize it, what I'm trying to articulate is a couple of things. The likes thing. This doesn't get enough likes to support it. And the reason it doesn't get enough likes to support it is because it didn't to begin with. Cinemassacre and AVGN had to combine eventually, because whether with one another with somebody else, because they weren't getting enough likes to monetize during the time when you were monetized based on likes. They weren't routinely liked because their material is negative. They weren't actually routinely liked enough to do ad reads for Tide and Verizon Wireless. They had to do the lower payout ad reads, and that forces people who start doing it for the money, because they realize they're not good enough to go to Hollywood where the real money is, and so they got to make more money than what they make at their job, and they make just enough to be decent at video editing. And you arrive at these people, you arrive at these channels. Like, for example, the difference in the channels that you can just see right here on my screen that I watch. So I don't know who Ron is, and Ron is not who I mean. I mean AVGN / Cinemassacre, Neebs, and Drumeo. The difference in these three channels, I think, is absolutely profound as we're looking at it. This one kind of sits in that still trying to look like early internet, right? But I mean, this is the most basic thumbnail you could possibly do. I'm playing Helldivers. I'm doing random loadouts. This is a person who understands that this is where the authenticity and the originality is. I don't know what he's like. We can go look, and I can critique it now that it's here on the screen, and I'm already done with this. we can get, if I started getting super chats and tons of engagement specifically about this video that I've clicked into, we could go and watch him say stupid things. But I would rather just first impressions. This is as far as I would have got. You're one of these people, out. Because the people who did this put all of their time into this. This is where the time in the channel went, and then they were scrambling to the actual script, and then the video itself is garbage. You can't watch it with your eyes if you know anything about looking at things. So let's go back over here. It's just best moments. They hated making thumbnails because thumbnails, the whole 15 years that they've been a thing, have always been aggressively misleading. Right? Aggressively misleading and stupid. And Davey504 is one of the worst. And so when Davey504 wants to call this God-forsaken platform, he contributed to it. It's a decent thumbnail. Yeah, I hope I conveyed that. This is the most basic thumbnail. This is the kind of thumbnail I already said. I'd click into a thumbnail like this because the information you need is right here, and it's authentic and original to him. He's doing random loadouts. That can be nothing but original to him, and it's an open lobby, so that's authentic play with other people. I did not make a negative criticism about this in any way. This is 100% clickable. This right here, curious. I'd watch this. Absolutely. If I were trying to learn Helldivers, this I would watch. I just put it on while I was playing. 100%. So their channel, it's just best moments, and then it's a neat screenshot. That's all they got. That's all they needed right there. And then it's of all time for the hype thing, right? This is 7 years ago when the hype thing started. And then down here, it's what it is. It's what it is, or it's where the guy in the video featured is from. It's what he's doing, hearing a thing for the first time. Or I'm sorry, it's the guy, a picture of the guy, and then what he's doing. Frank Zomo is the guy, and he's listening to the Dillinger Escape Plan for the very first time in his life. This is an effective thumbnail. I like these thumbnails. But now, the difference in these channels. This is a guy who wasn't good enough. These guys are good enough. They released a movie that's on Amazon Prime. And this is a channel that teaches people so effectively that they have a YouTube channel where they get actual musicians to come and just fuck around. Am I being articulate? This is a guy in his basement pretending that he's played games that he hasn't and being mad about it. Whereas I release a Dark Souls video and people refuse to watch it and then tell me that I'm too angry. Or I make a video about how I just hate inauthenticity, right? And I get mad about it. But I'm not allowed to get mad about it. Now, if AVGN were to be like, I fucking hate Tim Henson and go off on his fake little rant because you can tell his face doesn't actually mean it, he'd make all the money. But because I actually mean the things I say when I get mad, when I get angry, well, I'm not allowed to have that. Yeah, I never watched it, Jared. You're allowed to watch whatever you like. I am critiquing. Rachel told me that I need to start doing this. I need to make one of these. I'm reticent, but she said I need to make one of these. Let it go for a few minutes. The thing is, I just don't want to make it, and I don't want to learn how to make it. I kind of refuse.
Major order.
This is also what the... Okay. I like this. I'd watch this. I like his voice. I like his hat. I like his hair. I like that he's a sweaty nerd. I like his glasses. I like his beard isn't perfect. I like this guy. I would watch this guy if this is what I were doing. I don't watch other people. So just straight up, I am aware that this is what you guys want from me. I am also aware that this is like another $200 that I do not have. So that's 4 months of my Patreon subs. You see what I'm saying?
We already did that, so... Let's see,
I like his voice.
Illuminate?
He's good with his voice. I like the way he uses his voice.
Maybe oh, I was probably getting footage for this.
I like the way he said footage. Oh, getting footage. I like that.
Alright, let's see. It looks like we're versus Illuminate now.
I feel for him that he has to climb up into that giggle voice, that he can't sit down in his natural throat voice, but he's probably just generally uncomfortable with his natural throat voice, because sitting down here in the natural throat voice like I do, most people in the United States read as aggression. And so you have to sit up here and you have to talk like this, or people are just going to think you're actually aggressive about everything. But if I talk up here, I sound like I'm going to put a knife in you soon, and you need to step away from me. Yes. What I am, Jarchoco, is authentic. What I have is authenticity. When I write, when I speak with the same authenticity as the authorities that tell us other things than what I say. Mr. S calls it conviction. I speak with emphasis because the things that I'm saying are true and I'm emphatic about it. And also I have a little bit of an ugly attitude. Give me just a second. I want to see if there's anything left in this bowl. Rachel, by the way, thinks that the reason that I'm not sitting in there with her, I am doing this, is because she broke up with me once before. But what she can't understand is that I wouldn't be there with her. I would be thinking about how I need to be working to make life-changing money, because it's not just a webcam that I need. It's cancer treatment for my girlfriend.
Liberty calls for aid across the galaxy.
Yeah.
Only you can decide where to answer.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way.
Oh, actually, this is cool for me because I kind of soft quit on Mr. S with the Helldivers thing, doing that every night, and I kind of did want to know what was going on with the Illuminate, and I have not asked him whether he's played it because he hasn't brought it up.
I guess that's what we're trying to get to.
I let my nerd friends do what I do. Yes, conviction is what I have. I am convicted. In the same way that one can be convicted of a crime, one can be convicted of the truth.
Gotcha.
I am still Phil Alitea, lover of truth.
Alright. We'll try going over there then. Let's see.
Skinshifter or skin shifting are just an earlier conception in my creative life. I wanted to do music under that name. I wanted to do a solo project, kind of like 9 Inch Nails, as skin shifting, and I was going to be the Skin Shifter, and they could have whatever stupid names they want, like Marilyn Manson's band or whatever. That was the plan. So I bought all the equipment.
Oh, yes, let's do that. I think I also need to change some stuff, though. Private lobby. Yeah, hang on, Oliver. I forgot about that, because I think the last time I was playing this, I was just getting footage for the 40K War Bond.
You can see something different about him and me. I'm watching this, and I'm watching his body language as a fellow live streamer. I'm not actually negatively critiquing him. I can see why you guys like him better than me, for example. I can see why he has 100,000 subscribers and I have 2,300 subscribers, and why he has a chat and I don't have a chat. I am significantly less willing to hide that I don't want to be talking to you fucks right now. His body language, I don't know what's going to happen when I do this. I don't know if I can get in on this any closer.
Hey, you're on.
That's
Hey,
not what I want.
Howdy, fellow gamers. Howdy, Dangus. How's it going?
Kind of, but no. Oh my God, YouTube, you're very dumb. Do you know that, YouTube? Do you know that about yourself? You can tell that they don't use their desktop app. Anyway, and that they don't want us doing what I just did. He likes that they're there. You can read his body language with me here if you can see it. If you're on the vertical, you're not going to be able to see it very well, but you'll be able to zoom in maybe better than I can. He and I are different in this way. If you watch him, he's the person who works in the drive-thru on the headset that doesn't actually have to talk to you. But if you've ever been in the window and you see that person see you, they'll make this face that he makes away from the camera. You'll recognize the face.
I think I also...
See, okay, so he's thinking, he's talking, he's broadcasting, you got to remember, he's wearing a lot of hats right now. That headset is the same headset that he would be wearing if he were his producer, his director, and the the performer, the talent. So right now he's playing director, producer, and talent, and he's got a chat that's blowing up.
Still need to change some stuff though.
And so he looks over, sees it, and then instantly gets pissed off. And then the way that he handles it's very different than I do. See, you tell me, yeah, hang on, and I'm gonna tell you, yeah, go fuck yourself, right? Because of the PDA. But what he does is he basically yells back into the kitchen, yeah, hang on, I'm fucking busy. Can you not see that? Watch.
Oh, yes, let's do that. I think I also need to change some stuff though.
See, pissed off, hides his mouth, says hang on, and then forces a smile on it, but his eyes aren't smiling. His eyes are, I'm kind of pissed off. He and I do this differently. You can even see his hair falls down. This is piss off. This is, because his scrunched and pulled his hair out. The difference in him and me here is that I don't hide it when you're being rude and you've pissed me off. This is my stage. You understand?
Oliver, I forgot about that because I think the last time I was playing this, I was just getting footage for
The touch in the face right there is called stimming. He's hiding his mouth and he's reminding himself to smile.
40K war bond.
And you see what he's doing with his eyes, how he's rolling his eyes? He doesn't want to be thinking about this right now. This is a non sequitur from what he's doing, but he has downtime, so he's forcing his brain to do it. It's hugely inconvenient. See somebody that he likes?
Howdy, Dangus. How's it going? Okay, that's this one. That's right. Okay. Should be public now. Should be all good if anybody wants to hop on in. Feel free to.
But that's not a... Hey, sir. That's not a real smile. He's not smiling with his whole face. He doesn't want all of those people to join. Certain of those people he doesn't want to join. I was hoping that I could find something religious that would upset me, but I have an idea. Check this out. I forgot that I'm on the desktop. We can find something to upset me if I do this. I let this not know anything about me and what I like. I don't like anything. I just scroll. And the things I watch, I comment on. So it's going to show me more of them. So like this, 10 metal riffs before metal was invented. I hate this shit. But okay, I see what you're doing there. Mildly amusing. Still hate that shit. Gonna get fucking copyrighted. Not doing that. What was the longest NES game?
NES game?
Hey, welcome, sir. Thank you.
Nintendo fought hard to keep the system as slop-free as possible and ended up with
arguably
the deepest library of masterpieces.
I don't know about masterpieces, but certainly recognizable titles that a bunch of people played and that a bunch of people talked about because they also worked really hard to keep them in blockbusters. That's why they worked so hard to not allow slop. These are games for children. Hey, I'm doing my best, sir. Thank you so much for vindicating in some way that I'm doing this right now. Rachel is seriously unwell and would much rather that I took the night off. It took a lot of convincing to get her to admit that she needed last night off. Okay, he's totally right. Usually these shorts, when I click into them, they annoy the shit out of me. But he's actually really right. They did work really hard, and I like his voice. I'm trying to react to these and critique them, not just watch them. Oh no, I didn't know that would happen.
What's the longest NES game?
I don't know.
Games are surprisingly complex.
They are. This is it's not my favorite read, but he's doing an all right job for reading a script. They are surprisingly complex. I think, can I just do the thing, like when I do this and I'm alone, I always do the read the way I would do it. I would just say, because that's not the way he talks. If he were to come up to you or like you were having a conversation, he wouldn't go like, oh, NES games are like surprisingly complex, like insecure about it, right? He'd be like, dude, NES games are surprisingly complex. But he's trying to drop his voice and he's trying to add that vocal fry, but he just sounds like a Californian chick. You ever do you know what I'm talking about? I'm not making fun of him.
What's the longest NES game? NES
He could be
games are
better.
surprisingly complex.
That's not how people talk. They're surprisingly complex, right? And he goes, they're surprisingly complex, and that's just not how people talk. You can tell he's reading, and that annoys the shit out of me. Like, frankly, watch my shorts, all of it off the cuff. I've never read anything that I didn't say. I'm gonna read now.
Nintendo fought hard to keep the system as slop-free as possible, and
Not slop free, certainly not slop free. That's not true. There is an incredible amount of slop on the NES. In fact, Nintendo made slop on the NES. But what they were concerned with was violence and sexuality. And even Nintendo gives you sexuality as a reward for beating Metroid. So we can calm down about there being no slop on the NES and Nintendo working hard to keep it off. They weren't trying to keep slop off. They were trying to make sure that mothers in the 80s and the 90s could buy these consoles for their small ass children, and that those small ass children wouldn't grow up to be, I don't know, Butchers of Bakerfield or the Boston Stranglers. That was the concern back then.
ended up with arguably the deepest library of masterpieces ever.
I don't know about the deepest library of masterpieces ever. The PlayStation 2 is going to fight you over that. But recognizable titles that a lot of people played and that influenced a lot of the PlayStation 2 games that were masterpieces, I will give him 100%. He's obviously too young to be doing anything other than trying to capitulate to people my age.
To this day. But what is the most complex? And by that I mean, what game takes the longest to complete?
Okay, complexity and time to complete aren't necessarily the same thing, but whatever.
Dragon Warriors 4
He's not using complexity in the scientific sense. He means, and that's why he said it the way he did.
is brought up a lot, as it takes a whopping 40 or so hours to complete.
Okay, yeah, that's not a big deal. The first one would have taken 40 hours. The first Final Fantasy takes many people as many as 100 hours. That's not complexity.
But there is one game that stands well above the rest. The dungeon crawler Might and Magic Book 1.
Oh, cool.
This game can take almost 90 hours to complete. It's truly incredible that an NES game can offer that much gameplay.
It's really not, though. If you know anything about RPGs, like, I don't want to throw you under the bus here, and I hope I'm not, but Mr. S was asking me about, like, RPGs where you get to customize your character or and impact the world, and there's a story and a narrative there, and it's deep, and it's engaging, and it's rewarding, and it's like, well, yeah, all of them since they were text-based. These are novels. These are able to fit so much more. Yeah, salesperson voice syndrome, yes. I appreciate hearing that, Jar. I'm a weird hangout in person. I'm cagey, and I really like my alone time. But these games could be because they're such, like, look at that image. That image is so small that takes up almost no space on the hard drive, and then the UI takes up most of the screen. Very little is moving. There's almost no data that goes into making any one scenario in one of these RPGs. And so my point is, it's like, yeah, all of them, like most of them before Dragon Age Inquisition. So like before Dragon Age Inquisition. I mean, even Dragon Age 2 was making an effort at it. Dragon Age Inquisition lost the plot, and then the one after that just doesn't have it. Valgard is just a bad game. But I mean, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is reaching toward that. Everything that Larian does has reached toward that. And then just the further back in time you get, the more often games did that. Like all the Final Fantasy games offer that. You don't get to customize your character or whatever, but you're not a blank slate. And then I think I remember a lot of people conflating RPG character with blank slate, but the blank slate is just games trying to compete with Zelda. The Link is a blank slate, but in no true RPG is your character a blank slate. You always have a backstory. You're always a fully realized person going into a world that's fully realized. Like all of the Fallout games, you're just a normal guy in this alternate reality 1950s, and then you wake up into a horrible post-nuclear nightmare. The blank slate thing is not a I don't know where that comes from in the cultural idiom, but that's not a thing. All of the RPGs, you're supposed to be playing a role, and so the role is your character, and your character has this backstory. Now, there are certain JRPGs like Dragon Quest where I cannot believe he called it Dragon Warrior 4, but whatever. Unless it's Dragon Warrior in Japan, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's Dragon Warrior in the States and Dragon Quest in Japan. But whatever. The Dragon Quest games, even in those, you're not really a blank slate. You just don't speak. Your character doesn't speak. And the reason for that is because in the games where your character does speak, oftentimes the dialogue options that you get in the trees don't necessarily reflect what your character says out loud. So like in Mass Effect, your character doesn't always say what it says to say on the screen. Sometimes he'll say the exact opposite of what the dialogue selection was on the screen, and we got annoyed with that. And because we got annoyed with that for so long, over decades, right? So often with so many titles over so many decades, they just stopped giving us options. But like RPGs are long like this, and it's not surprising that they can fit all of that on the console, because text like this takes up almost no space. Like if this guy knew anything about anything, he'd have written a Word document before, and he would know that Word documents are kilobytes.
But what game took you the longest? What's the longest NES?
It's a good question. I'm not going to answer it in his thing, but
What's the hardest?
I hate this guy. I don't like either of these people, but I want to critique this because it's super fucking hard to remix their stuff. And actually, it's super fucking hard to critique shorts, and these guys know it. So anyway, the people that cut out these shorts know it's almost impossible to critique them, and almost impossible to cut from them. Anyway, what was I saying? The game that took me the longest in real time to complete is not a fair answer. I mean, World of Warcraft is never finished. It took me forever to get to max level the first time in vanilla. I never got to max level in EverQuest over a decade of playing it. But he means single player game, and probably he means NES game. And the NES games that I had available to me in the house were all super short, but they were RPGs, the ones that were long, and so it would be the first Final Fantasy for sure. I'd ever completed it on the NES, though. It took me many, many years, maybe 15 or 20 years to finally beat. No, not 15 or 20. I beat it in high school for the first time. It took me another 10 years to beat it, though. I was a slow developer, slow learner. Like when Rachie plays 7 Days with me, and she feels like a slow learner because it's taken her a really long time in her mind to adapt to the world. I'm not saying it takes her a long time. I'm like, look, sis, it hasn't taken you a decade yet. When it's like, okay, you've been playing this for 10 years and you haven't figured it out, I'm starting to get pissed off. Actually, I'm going to start to get pissed off the whole time, but I'm going to actually mean it and hold it against her later. Okay, now I'm going to talk about two people I don't like. This guy right here, major fucking dickhead. Major fucking dickhead. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, we can do this. Rick Beato, life before YouTube. Record producer? Before becoming a record producer and a YouTube creator, Rick Beato spent his early life immersed in formal music education, playing in bands and teaching at college. He has instrument training, he has these degrees in arts and whatever, jazz. All right. He transitioned in his mid-30s. He formed a rock band called Billionaire, which signed a record deal in 1998-2000 before eventually getting dropped. Becoming a producer after the band was dropped at age 37, he taught himself studio gear and production by reading magazines and asking questions, which led to operating Black Dog Sound Studios in Georgia and producing for acts like Shinedown and Parmalee. So, when I talk about certain people having a hand in certain things fucking sucking today, Rick Beato has a hand in things fucking sucking today. Because Shinedown are kind of, for radio rock, Shinedown are kind of, actually, they're more than kind of, they're almost explicitly, oh, that's not going to work the way I wanted it to. Shinedown are almost explicitly the exact same thing to radio rock as what, I'm trying to remember the name of the band. I don't keep these bands in my head. In my head, I don't listen to them. Rascal Flatts was for country music. They kind of made it suck. They kind of made listening to it suck as an experience. And so this guy right here, Rick Beato, has a hand in that overcompressed snare that everybody hates so much. How do I know this? I listened to him talk about having a hand in it. Okay, so this guy annoys the shit out of me. And I'm going to explain to you why this guy annoys the shit out of me. This guy annoys the shit out of me because this guy gets to sit down and talk with serious and oftentimes interesting, but certainly successful people. He gets to sit down and talk with them as a peer because he has this big YouTube channel that has X number of people. Oh my God, I've broken it. YouTube, why?
What's the hard?
Stop. Oh, they don't even tell you the subscribers anymore. Anyway, this isn't real. They don't even tell you how many subscribers you have beside a channel anymore. This is so fucking manipulative. They're not telling you implies that they're fucking struggling and that everybody is fucking struggling or that everybody's huge. This is dumb. The way they have this set up, dumb. But anyway, this guy, dumb. Dumb. He's so dumb. He's dumb. He's dumb as hell. Look at him. Look at his dumb, stupid, dumb face. He's dumb as hell. Okay? But anyway, he fits in with the other YouTubers that I've been talking about when I say that YouTubers are people who had a real desire to be in front of a camera, or in his case, on a stage, or behind a microphone, or playing guitar, or whatever the fuck. He had a real desire, but he wasn't good enough. And not only was he not good enough, he wasn't good enough 3 times. All right? He wasn't good enough in his band. He wasn't good enough as a producer twice. And then he wasn't good enough, frankly, on YouTube, doing the reaction videos and explaining and teaching music. He's not fucking good enough. But his channel has enough outreach that record producers will convince, and agents will convince their fucking talent to go and sit on his fucking couch. And so he's talked to Tool, and that pisses me the fuck off. Anyway, here's Les Claypool saying something that probably sounds smart.
Hardest thing to play live and sing. Well,
the hardest thing to play live and sing of his music? Yeah, that's a dumb question. They have music that they don't play because you can't.
there's a song DMV which we just don't even play because it's so fucking hard.
Oh, look at that. I haven't even seen this, and I just fucking knew that.
Okay.
Okay, but Rick didn't. Did you notice that? Rick didn't know.
It's one of those, I wrote that when I was a young guy songs, and I probably can't even play it. There's like...
Oh, that's really funny. This is the song that everybody, including Scott's bass lessons, go to when they want to talk about how great Primus is. And he's like, oh, I wrote that as a young guy. I don't even play that song. That's not a real song. This is how educated and informed YouTube comment sections are.
It doesn't matter if you're tall.
It does matter if you're tall.
Extra with YouTube shopping.
Let me out of here. We're okay. We have to click links or we're going to watch ads. Let's do like Anderton's Music Company. They have a connection to Bill Kelly, or they know Bill Kelly. I guarantee you this is awkward and weird because they don't know him.
Now you can play Unlocked on PC.
Oh no, I'm making you watch ads twice. What's the fuck? Just let me hit these little dots so that I can click on. Oh, this is, nope, that's not the thing. Where is it? This. Let me click this circle right here and then click this. Shut up, bitch! They all say to me, we're trying to listen to that fucking ad. We want to know about downloading games. Tell us more. All right, now tell me that this is the body language of people who've been in a room together before. Someone tell me that this is the body language of two people who've been in any room together before. Hey, Blue, I hope you knew. I shouted you out the other night. Maybe even last night. Thank you for your membership, and thank you for everyone showing up for this, of all random things to bring the members together. Thank you so much. But anyway, somebody tell me that this is body language 2 people have sat in a room together before, because this is the body language of a guy who is highly successful sitting in the room with a guy who sells things for more than they're worth. This is as weird as 2 dudes sitting in a room. And when I say weird, I mean uncanny. This is as uncanny as 2 dudes sitting in a room can possibly be. And also, why is Bill Kelly her better dressed than you are? This is your home. Have some pride. Like, this guy's, yeah, he's a weird music nerd, but I mean, he wore a collar to your home. He shaved his beard. Now, he always looks like this, but I mean, and this, you're not even wearing your business. You can do better. Like, this is such a tacit and tacky advertisement. But, hey, can we visit this, actually? Do we notice the backlighting? Anybody remember? Yes, I have got a good mic. Thank you very much. Doing this from the tent, Rachel, Mr. S, Patreon subscribers, members such as yourself, actually benefited me about $600 that I spent on this microphone and audio interface setup. If I'm going to brag a little bit, I was a guy who lived in a tent and could afford to walk into a place like this and walk out with good audio equipment. And so that's kind of why I'm like, are we just going to, like, we should just take a second. This fender is covered up. Notice that. They're not an authorized fender dealer, but they are an authorized victory dealer. I mean, if you want victory, you come see us at Anderton's, and that's what he's looking. He's like, don't I play Gibson that has to be covered up? No, he plays, is that a wall? That looks like it might be a Gibson, so they might be. And they got Soldano, and then they got all these pedals. But anyway, if we remember when I was talking about the AVGN and Cinemassacre, this is backlit so that you can clearly see the brands that he wants to draw your attention to. Look, I've got this neat Maple Explorer that needs to go home to somebody, and don't think about how it's not actually a Gibson. Way too many heads? Oh, are these called heads? The amps? I don't know what these are called. I don't know terminology. These are pedals. I know that. I didn't mean to click into this. We can totally talk about that. All of this, kind of like the pink back here is so, all of it's tacit. And so what I'm saying is, this is a guy who sells guitars. You don't think him wearing socks was a surprise today? Yeah, he's going to blow their socks off. I get it. That's funny. I think he's only plugged into this little one. That was funny. Okay, is that what they're called? They're called, they're called heads, and these increase the power of the speakers. So these are the true amp. They're amp heads. Is that what that is? And then the speaker is separate in real stacks, and that's how they get those big walls of amps. They have one head, and they feed the line to all of those different speakers. I have owned a bass guitar, but I did not have that complex a digital chain. All I mean to say, interrupting myself along the way, is that this is very tacit. This is obviously a sales floor. Heard that, Blue. It seems very complicated and expensive. It seems like people like him do really well for themselves, and they can afford YouTube channels where they can have rock stars come and just hang out with them. And, oh, look, the things that I sell work because they're a brand that I'm not involved in. But then, okay, I also clicked this because Bill Kelly is from Mastodon. And Mastodon are my favorite band right now. Maybe ever. They're just consistently favorite band. And in 2 days, maybe 1 day, they're releasing a record. Yes, Sound Guy Land is a money pit. Yes. Let me tell you, because I need to upgrade my audio interface too if I'm going to get Rachel on a good mic. This is all deeply expensive because of people like him. There are people between you and the product. And on some level, the product here is Bill Kellyher. Bill Kellyher, while he's on tour, he sells them for a lot of money because he should, because he's a very good guitarist. And you know he's a very good guitarist because of how easily and comfortably he sits in this chair. Look at his posture. This is a guy who knows his guitar probably better than he knows his genitals. Yeah, Gibson, I understood Epiphany as Gibson Jr. I thought that was an epiphany. It might be a Gibson, but I was trying to be funny. So thank you for getting my obscure joke that I only barely get. I don't play guitar. I like basses. I like bass. I like bass a lot. And if this were a bassist, I could make fun of it in the specific way that I appreciate you participating in. Thank you so much, guys. I thought this was going to be a major flop, and I was going to sit here and piss myself off, and it was going to be a waste of time. Thank you. Every time I do that, you guys show up. It's like, yeah, his technique is impeccable. He's their rhythm guitarist. And I like rhythm guitarists as personalities. So I've fallen in love with James Hetfield and with Dave Mustaine. I really like Anders Nystrom of Catatonia. Yeah, it's for the weirdos. Baseland. It's a small moon of Guitar World because I like and I'm interested in all the gear, but my instrument is a very, very different thing, sort of. They're starting to put more and more bass strings on guitars to the point that I'm just wondering why they don't just play drop-tuned bass sixes, but it's probably because there's only one company who makes a bass six. Yeah, Orbit because it's percussion. Yeah, and then I always wanted to play drums. Drums was like my secret fetish instrument. That's why the drum machine, and it just comes out at night when I can't sleep. And I don't care if the performance sounds like I'm still learning. I do want to hear Bill talk a little. I'm going to move in. Bill might be a mensch. On the road, Bill does tutors. He does teaching, like tutoring sessions. Kellyher does. This is the body language of people who don't know one another and a guy who is wildly intimidated. Now, he might know who Bill is, and this might be like a fan moment, but Bill does not act big boy. He sits upright, but notice that he doesn't lean in, and notice that his eyes are level. He's not... Now, Bill's Southern. He's not noticing the hoodie. But even if he notices the hoodie in the video, what his eyes are not conveying is, in this still image, is, what the fuck, bro? Notice that the jaw is pointed toward him and that the ears are clearly in line with the speaking. This is a person who can speak to Bill, and Bill's face is open and perceptive to receive. All bass strings on an electric mandolin sounds wild. Bill might be a mensch, and he is a teacher. So I do want to hear him speak. I've only ever watched mimetic videos of them. I don't go looking for this stuff. I'm a busy guy.
Punk rock friends of mine. There were only a handful of us in the school.
Here, actually, I'm going to back that up. That's an interesting story.
The actual vinyl version of it, I scooped it.
Sorry.
Was the fold-out H.R. Giger poster inside that was totally banned. So when I finally found the actual vinyl version of it, I scooped it up, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have it!" But it was had stamped banned on it, and it was.
Yeah, look at his face. This is a real story, and he really wants this guy to know that this is a real story. This happened. I'm communicating this to you effectively, and this is real openness. This is true trait openness. Artists tend to be trait open. I'm not the only person that you'll find say that on the internet. The first person that I heard say it was not Jordan Peterson, but Jordan Peterson talks about it like he himself is a trait open or artistic person. I think he does it because he's not, and he finds it unbelievable, quite literally incomprehensible that other people might be. But do you notice how the eyebrows pinch? He doesn't want to repeat this a third time. This is a yeah. Those are not Bill's guitars. This is a sales floor. That's 7 guitars that I can count. I'm sure that we're not playing. I didn't mean to play those Boy Scout magazines with you that you can sometimes find in dentist office. I didn't mean to do that. How many guitars do you see? It's actually 8 in this image. I didn't mean to do that with you. That was me with my mom, and I'm sorry I did that. It's a little embarrassing. You have 3 guitars, a bass, and a mandolin. Is that, am I picking that up, Bluetooth? This frown is, do not make me repeat this information. And I love it when people frown like this. This is a serious person's frown.
Like the PMRC and Jello Biafra.
Did you see how he immediately looked away? He's like, I'm going to look away now because I need to think about names. Watch.
Vinyl version of it.
You see how every time he looks away from him, he frowns a little bit? You see how he's not doing the end? Because it's because he keeps looking away. He needs to know. He needs to know. Okay, I'm just gonna break this down contextlessly. He needs to know that bro's paying attention, because bro does not know this record. It's starting to piss him off. Sorry.
Was the fold out.
See this? Oh man, I love this. Sorry, I'm starting to get giddy. I picked it. I love when this happens in interviews where the interviewer doesn't know, but the interviewer is hyper conscious that he's on camera and that his audience knows. Thunderbirds are cool guitars. I don't know what a Mando bird is. Oh, that sounds cool. They make lower scale harmonicas? I didn't know that. That fucking guy. Man, I went into that. Okay, music store guys. I'm watching this because I'm kind of trying to explore a prejudice against music store guys. I asked that guy. He knew I played bass, and I asked this guy about a harmonica, and I was asking him about, well, why the different notes? Okay, well, what's the range of the notes? And he's like, oh, just standard. I'm just like, okay. I'm not getting information here, and I'm not going home and Googling this. Ooh, is it pronounced Honer? Hainer? Those are really good. That's the only thing I did. No, hey, this is a Skinshifter / Shaggy Philolitea production. I'm allowed to interrupt myself, and this is always going to be funny. So every time we intermittently engage with it, it will be funny. Also, I keep looking at this rooster back here because, cock. Anyway, he's trying to tell a story. He could tell. He's starting to get annoyed with bro. I love when interviews go like this. We're trying to tell a serious story because I know that there's a camera there, and I know that they're not here for you today. But he's hyper conscious that there's a fucking camera here. Why the fuck is this a long shot in the edit? Probably because if you're too close on his face, you'll see this. Well, we move on. Yeah, he's annoyed. Look, he's annoyed that he's laughing. I'm trying to tell a fucking story. Shut the fuck up. This is funny to me.
That was totally banned. So when I finally found
Blue.
The actual vinyl version of it,
he finally got him to shut up. Yeah, that's why I keep shooting him these looks like, are you paying attention to the story?
I scooped it up, and I was like, oh my God, I have it. But it was head stamped banned on it, and it was like the PMRC and Jello Biafra. And later on, I learned all about the whole, the First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, and all that stuff. And it just sent me down this whole nother path than trying to learn eruption.
Cool. My internet is taking a moment, so let me just make sure it doesn't freak out here. But that's cool. I didn't know that about him. Specifically, oh, that's an LTD limited. I don't know this brand. That's cool. I like when big guys aren't using the same brands. Gibson and Ibanez. Fender. Give me a second here. Make sure that it didn't just kick me off the stream or something. It's acting weird. Well, I actually don't know where Bill's from. Let me see if I can learn where Bill is actually from real quick. I think he's from Georgia. And if I'm right about the time, born 71. Where was he born? Rochester, New York. Okay. That's cool. Where did he grow up? Let's find out. There's a Wikipedia page, I'm sure of it. He was in Game of Thrones. I remember that. He and Brent Hines played White Walkers. I remember that. Where's he from? I went too far. I forgot what I was looking for. Holds dual citizenship in the U.S. and Ireland. His father is an Irish immigrant. He was born in Rochester, and somehow he found his way to Georgia, because that's where Macedon are from. That's cool. Rachel will like knowing that he's from Rochester. Another reason for her to listen to my favorite stuff, I guess. But in the South, I don't know about in Rochester. I don't know about in New York, but in the South, Van Halen was everything. Van Halen was everything. When was that? That was 71 too, right? When Van Halen started? So like the year he was born, it would have been everything to the older kids and to his parents. They were if he was in Georgia, they were everything. I mean, like, especially in Georgia. If you've ever watched Squidbillies, you can think about how, yeah, it does mean it's time to take a... Heard that, Blue. I will. The Mando bird. Cool. And yeah, it is almost time to take another toke. But if you've ever watched Squidbillies, the influence that Van Halen had on the South, on Georgia, is apparent in the character Dan Halen. Van Halen was everything in the South, especially to a certain kind of, that outlaw country crowd. Those the people that today we don't want around on the internet because they have the Confederate flag and I mean, you saw he wore a mullet. I mean, he rocked looking like he was from Georgia, right? Still does rock the rockabilly. Looks absolutely like he's from Georgia. That's a whole look in Southern Georgia among musicians. Like if you look at Kylesa, they don't dress dissimilarly. Yeah, you went to school in Atlanta? Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. But yeah, so Blue knows, if Blue knows what I'm talking about. Van Halen was everything. So like, if you know, what's that dance movie? It's not going to come to me. The dance movie where the girl is going to the academy and she can't be with the boy because he's from the wrong side of town. That was Van Halen, dude, right? So like the girls from the upper part of town, right? They wanted to hang out with the dudes with the Van Halen shirts and the leather jacket and the flannel, It was a whole thing. What was that movie? She says it's a bad comp. I don't know, man. I remember country in the 90s was still very Van Halen. It was so influenced by Van Halen. And I think what he's saying there is that he found this punk record. I'm trying to interpret it, I guess. What I think he's saying there is he found this punk record and it taught him all about freedom of speech and freedom of religion and pushing back against the government and sounding the way you wanted to sound. And in the 80s, he's growing up. He's born 71, so he turned 18 and '89, you know, the '80s were all, I mean, as much as we love that music. Rachie and I were talking about this yesterday when we were talking about, no, it wasn't Rachie, I'm sorry, it was Hannah Ida and I were talking about this the other day when she made a Def Leppard joke, and I took the opportunity to react to a Def Leppard joke in a similar way to this. Not a Def Leppard song, a Def Leppard, not a Def Leppard joke, a Def Leppard song. I mean, are the two different? But man, in the '80s going into the '90s, it was Def Leppard, it was Van Halen, it was Metallica. There were a lot of different things that it was. And then going out of the '80s, coming in out beyond the '90s, it was certainly Pantera. But man, being able to play Eruption was that you had made it. Like that was the thing. And so what he's saying is that rather than going that style of guitar, he found this other thing, this punk thing. And what I'm trying to say is that I listen to a lot of music that's adjacent to Mastodon. Dirty Dancing, thank you, Jackie. I don't know if I'm comparing it to Dirty Dancing, by the way. I'm analogizing it with Dirty Dancing. That there was a very real, not class war, but there were well, Grease is not dissimilar either. The Grease is about a guy who's in a lower. Grease is the older. Grease is the older. I was reaching to Dirty Dancing because it was the '80s, but Grease is the more appropriate, actually, because what they were worried about, the moms and dads at that time, was that their daughter was going to effectively become a greaser. 100%. You know, that moment where she shows up at the fair? That's a movie I've seen and can talk about. Thank you for giving me Grease. Thank you for working. Thank you for giving me Grease to work with. The moment where she shows up at the fair and she's got her hair all did up and she's got the sleeveless shirt and the super tight high-waisted pants, and she's obviously a greaser's girlfriend. For people who don't know, this is all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to emphatically express that for people who don't know, the class, the social divides and the way you dress and the way you portray yourself today, those things happened in the before times as well. And one of the big cultural divides in the 70s going into the 90s, the 80s are really an extension of the 70s, except for economically. But if you kind of understand the 80s, they were just the pop version of what the 70s was doing. They figured out synths, and so all the bands were from the 70s, all the bands in the 70s, they just went synths in the 80s, and then the bands who were coming up in the 80s, they were synth versions of stuff that they had heard in the 70s. They're an extension of one another culturally. The 60s and the 70s and the 80s, they merge neatly into one another as a cultural identity, not because of generations or because of people being born, but because of how strictly actually behavior was regulated at the top and the top middle of civilization. So of American and European civilizations, specifically South American too. And so how rigidly these class and structural divides were maintained. So those of us who are my age, I'm 39, those of us who are my age remember when those class and structural divides were eroded between blacks and whites, as far as black people playing music and expecting a majority white crowd. And so what I mean is Eminem. We remember Eminem, and we should remember him better than what we do. Because the accusations that what Eminem was doing was making more money than black people at an industry invented by black people, in the same way that Elvis and Nat King Cole had done, and that's ugly and inappropriate, is in his radio singles. He does address it. Okay. So this look, this well-dressed farmer look, is a tacit look. It's a tacit acknowledgement of the working class, but moreover, like beyond the working class, it's a tacit saying that I can look like the working class and like punk and like Van Halen on some level, but also be clean and take care of myself and be eloquent and be smart. It's very much he and I, we come from a cloth, because if you remember me in the tent, I wore a shirt just like that for most of the time I was there. I unbutton it because I don't give a shit if the parents of the upper class girls that I may or may not, probably am not sleeping with, care. I never cared. And in that way, I was drawn to metal and to music that sounds like this. And so what I'm trying to say in my Shaggy Dog way is that music that sounds like this tends to look like him. People who play like him tend to look like him. And that means that it comes from a place. They didn't all get together in university and decide they were going to look like that, like the fucking Beach Boys. Something happened. And that something that happened must be, in the way I'm describing, similar to what happened that black metal is all the same. And black metal is all the same because there was a night in Sweden when there was a concert in London in the 80s, maybe. There was this concert, maybe it was in the 70s, there was this concert in London that, for some reason, Sweden broadcast live on television. And a bunch of little kids that are in black and doom metal bands today, they saw that concert. So they saw bands like Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest all on one big stage. They saw all the big names of European metal, Iron Maiden, whatever, whoever it was, I don't know, Venom. They saw these bands all on one stage one night while they were watching it on TV. And so they all became black metal musicians right then. Black metal was born that night, and they all agree on it. There's documentation about this. People have gone into it. We could look that up, and I don't want to. But what he's saying is that the same guy that kind of made Tool, I've been noticing something about Tool, and I kind of want to talk about this because I'm kind of over Tool. Tool is the Danny Carey project. Adam and Maynard are there, and Justin is a hired gun with very, very good riffs. So whatever, Tool is kind of just whatever to me right now. They were the most important thing in the world to me at one point in my life. But what I noticed is that Adam is from, like, Kansas, and Maynard is from Ohio. Justin's from London or England, so he's not what I'm talking about. And those two are trying to sound like country music, which comes from south of them, not from them. That's an inauthentic sound coming out of their bodies, frankly. That's why I'm driven to guys like him and the people in Kylesa. That's why I was talking about Down the other night. These people who make a regional sound, they look like who they are. They act like who they are. Maynard is a guy from Ohio who made his money in L.A. and now lives in Arizona.
Like all my friends, probably some of them still are. I was just like, I can't do that. I'm just going to do.
Did you see the relativism with which he said he did exactly? I wanted to do what I just did on purpose because the relativism with which he said that some of my friends still like Van Halen.
It was had stamped band on it, and it was like the PMRC and Jello Biafra, and later on I learned all about the whole, the First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, and all that stuff, and it just sent me down this whole nother path than trying to learn eruption, like all my friends, probably some of them still are. I was just like, I can't do that. I'm just going to do what I can do and do the best at it.
You ever heard somebody on this channel say that before? No, I can't do that. I'm going to do the best that I can do. Every time people would give me guff about my injury, isn't that what I say? Well, I can't go back and work. People would say, well, why don't you just get a job? I can't go back and work for somebody else. I can't make somebody else life-changing money while I'm struggling to eat. Can't do it. I'll just struggle to eat. What I can do is what I am doing, or something like it. I want to move off this. I'm done. I'm done talking about this guy. I hope that you guys are encouraged not to buy Anderton Music Company, but I don't think you were inclined to in the first place. Let's see if we can find something else to upset ourselves with. That's the goal here. I'm trying to get upset about one of these. I'm trying to click on one of these and let it just set me off, because that's good content, right? So we go back to my channel. I'm telling YouTube now that I'm two people. They're going to know, and they're going to think that I'm scamming.
in some way. Like I'm watching my own stuff. People are 100% going to accuse me of that if this ever grows above the four of you who are bouncing in and out. And I appreciate every one of you being here. I really do. I'm not calling you out. When I do that, I hope you know when I do that, I'm not calling you out. I'm praising you. I'm holding you up to anyone who comes in behind you. Oh, this guy's the worst. 11 months ago. Maybe, if I'm lucky, it'll show me some stuff about Istanbul, thinking that it's, or not Istanbul, Turkey, thinking that they're Greek. What's that about? Ah, I hate this. I hate this. Okay, the thumbnail.
Why is it so important to warriors?
They changed their script from their thumbnail. I hate that. That's an instant. An instant. Get me out of this. The thumbnail says why they switched from bronze to iron. Now, that's not what he said. Okay, I was wrong there. I thought that said something else. But down here it does say, why did ancient iron swords really dominate bronze swords? That's not what he said at the beginning here. I was kind of wrong there.
To warriors at the end of the Bronze Age and beginning of the Iron Age to switch from bronze swords to iron swords.
It really wasn't, actually. The beginning of the Iron Age, they didn't switch to iron weapons. Iron weapons come later. Iron was more useful for tools and household objects. It was too expensive to switch to iron swords.
Thanks, Matt Eaton here, Scholar Gladiatorian. Now, just very briefly before I go on, this is not an Iron Age sword, but it's the closest thing.
You notice how quickly he said scholar and whatever else he said? I don't like it when people do that because there's no confidence there. If you're a scholar, say it with your chest. I don't believe that he's actually a scholar. I think he's been on the History Channel too many times.
Thing I've got to an Iron Age sword. This is obviously a Viking era sword, but
similar in that they're not the same, and that, you know, your thumbnail and your opening question and your title don't agree.
Similar size and shape of blade. Now, many of you will be familiar with Bronze Age weapons like this beautiful leaf-bladed kind of Ewart Park sword here.
Okay, so again, the reason is the sword that he's holding, whether he's going to say it now or not, is kind of annoying. I fucking hate it when they do this. They look, I've got this stuff. Look at this neat stuff I've got. Like, I can't just fucking type it into Google and look at it. Anyway, like I'm that credulous, a fucking idiot, that your collection of neat shit because you're rich makes you somehow interesting. This right here is the face of somebody who is not talking about what they're supposed to be talking about and knows it. This is the look of someone holding up keys for a fucking toddler. Anyway, this sword, if it were actually made in the Bronze Age, would have been cast from a mold. If you were to cast any of those irons, i.e. steel swords, or this hammer, behind him, if you were to cast them, they would be brittle and they would break, or they wouldn't keep an edge. They wouldn't work. It wasn't important for Iron Age people to develop Iron Age weapons because they didn't.
From Neil Burridge.
Oh, from Neil Burridge, from a name drop, from somebody who gave that to you with a bunch of money, with the expectation that you'd say the fucking thing. That right there is called an ad read. And you're supposed to disclose on the screen when you do an ad read. This is 11 months ago. At least a year after that rule. Yeah, you just did an ad read, and nowhere on there does that say paid advertisement.
Bronze Age swords. Now, it's very evident.
Now, it's very evident that I'm an asshole.
These were very effective weapons in their time.
Is it evident that they were very effective weapons of their time? The weapon that swept across the Bronze Age was the composite bow, not the sword.
However, as I guess most people will realize,
Odysseus didn't slay those suitors with his magic bronze sword.
At a certain point, people started switching from bronze weapons to iron weapons.
At a certain point, no, actually not at a certain point, at many certain points across history and geography.
But why?
For very one simple reason.
It's a more effective weapon than bronze. Bronze is a highly ineffective killing weapon. It just looks really nice.
A lot of people would assume that iron is somehow better than bronze. Is it?
Iron is somehow many ways better than bronze. In fact, it's stronger, it carries an edge better, and the iron from which it's made is significantly more plentiful.
Maybe not in the way that you think. So let's dispense with the shield for a minute. We'll come back to that in a second because it is an important part of the
Yeah, please do, because you're kind of holding it wrong and it's annoying.
equation here. So most people assume that the reason that people moved from bronze to iron is simply that iron is a better metal for weapons.
Iron is a better metal for weapons. What weapons do you know of in the modern world that are made of copper?
It's certainly got more potential by...
It's certainly got more potential. That makes it a better material. If it has more potential, it is, by definition, better when you're talking about material science.
Turning it into steel with the addition of carbon. But
The difference... Okay. If he's going to make the iron is less good than bronze because you have to alloy it, bronze is an alloy of copper. And in fact, it's an alloy of copper with arsenic through much of the Bronze Age world. There was a paper recently released. I'm going to find it because this shit pisses me off. So recent archaeological discoveries on Elephantine Island provide the first direct proof that ancient Egyptians during the Middle Kingdom deliberately produced arsenical bronze around 2000 to 1650 BCE. For a long time, experts like this idiot believed that arsenic and ancient Egyptian copper came from natural impurities in the ore. A study published in Archaeometry changed the view. Researchers found spice, a heavy byproduct rich in arsenic, iron, and lead. Workers at Elephantine Island use spice as a reagent to mix with molten copper. This controlled process created stronger, harder metal. Hardness: adding arsenic made soft copper tough enough for practical tools and weapons. Work hardening: the metal grew stronger as workers hammered it. Transition: craftsmen eventually shifted to 10 bronze because 10 amounts were easier to measure and control. But 10 came from really far away. So it was important that they switched to iron because it was plentiful, and the coal happened when you fucking heat it up. The carbon, rather, happened when you heated it up, because the material that you needed in order to heat it up, the conditions that you needed to melt iron at all, naturally alloyed it with steel. So what he just said there was a stupid person's explanation.
iron is a better metal for weapons.
It is.
It's certainly got more potential by turning it into steel with the addition of carbon. But
again, if the argument is iron is a less good material than bronze because if you alloy it with carbon, it becomes steel, which is better, but iron is less good, then bronze cannot be in the conversation. Saying that iron is to steel makes bronze superior ignores that iron is to steel as copper is to bronze. Bronze is the weaker alloy. What do we use in the modern world that's iron? That's bronze.
what a lot of people don't realize, I don't think, is they don't realize that actually bronze weapons are really, really effective, and
they're really, really effective if you're a fan of the Bronze Age. And you want to be engaged in a conversation where your fandom and your nerddom is held up in a superiority argument. If bronze weapons were superior to iron weapons, steel weapons, calling them iron weapons is stupid. They were steel. You have to make a stupid argument in order to try to make the claim. In order to say that bronze is in any way superior, you would need proof. You would need evidence. And the evidence that one might search for is use. Did people use bronze for weapons after they had access to steel? No. Then steel is superior. Do you know how I know this? Because the people with the bronze weapons didn't come home. Idiot. Your country is so stupid, they were going to try to put armor over the parts of the plane that had holes in them when the planes came home, making the planes less effective in flight, more likely to be shot down. It took someone in your country to look at your country and say, hey, idiot, dunk, dunk, dunk. The planes that make it home, dunk, 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 made it the fuck home. These weapons, when they came across these weapons, didn't, dunk, 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 make it the fuck home. And so you know what everybody did? The people who had these weapons, but hadn't run across these ones yet, they got these weapons. And they put these weapons where their dead are.
Can be, in some circumstances, harder at the edge than some iron weapons.
Can be, sometimes, some. No. Can be, sometimes, some means was absolutely the fuck not in 1300 BC. Or, fuck. The Iron Age actually doesn't begin until about 700 BC. There's 400 years between the end of the Bronze Age and iron weapons. 400 years. And they had iron tools before the end of the Bronze Age.
So they make the assumption that people simply move from bronze.
No one makes the assumption. They didn't simply move from bronze to iron. I have just articulated that he's wrong.
To iron because iron made a better blade, was harder, more durable, this kind of thing.
If that weren't true, people would have continued to make bronze weapons. People did not continue to make bronze weapons.
Not quite that simple. So let's set some back.
It's that simple. It is that simple, but it can't be that simple if you're gonna milk 20 minutes of watch time out of this. This guy's a damn idiot. He's been on YouTube too many times not YouTube. He's on YouTube, but he's been on the History Channel too many times to be real. You want to learn about the Mass? We can learn about the Mass together. And how it's just magic. It's just Roman magic. It's actually like it's like a mix of Roman and Egyptian magic. Oh no, now it's just going to be his stuff. We got to get out of here because it's still my channel. All right, we got to go back. Start over. This is why, part of why I'm doing this, I don't ever talk about it. Part of why I'm on YouTube is because I got tired. I got tired of trying to go public, like just go out to the public facing information and learn anything. I got tired of finding everything to be wrong and lying and taking up some very old position, but claiming to be scholastic and academic. You can be scholastic and academic and wrong and hold an objectively wrong position. And the reason that can be true is because scholasticism is the process of holding on to an outdated and wrong set of ideas. Scholasticism itself is a metaphor. It is a derogatory word. To call someone scholastic is to say that they are rooted in an outdated and wrong interpretation of history. That has been the case for hundreds of years. So when a person calls themselves scholar and etc., or like what's the name of that channel, Esoterica, when he says that they want to do things in a scholastic manner, they're trying to say that they want to do things in a literate manner, that they're using literature and writing and having read and research and all of these things. That's what they're trying to say. But what they are actually saying is that they're going to rely on arguments from authority that have already been overturned. I was going to say turned over, and then I just ended the sentence. That have already been overturned by the techniques that scholasticism is efforting to use. What happened with Deshaun Watson? Did he punch somebody? Oh, this is cool. I want to hear about this.
What was it like getting that phone call to...
Another one of them. I hate this guy. This guy? Nobody. I don't know who this guy is. Garza podcast? Who is this guy? every time I watch his stuff, he doesn't actually know what every time I watch his interviews, the person he's talking to, and I've only seen shorts, the person he's talking to is talking about something that he's never heard of, and he's doing the totally, bro thing. I hate that. What's his name? What was the name of the show? Garza Podcast. Chris Garza, the founding guitarist and member of the prominent deathcore band Suicide Silence. Well, they are not prominent. I have never heard of them. Best known as a pioneer and guitarist in the modern deathcore scene with Suicide Silence. The show, he hosts raw, unfiltered interviews and conversations centered around heavy music, metal artists, and musicians. Most users on Reddit agree that the show's main draw is its strong lineup of interesting metal and rock guests, with Garza noted for doing solid preparation on the people he interviews. This is not a guy in the scene, and that's not a band anyone has ever heard of. $583K is more than I take in. But this is not a band I have ever heard of. And they are not releasing new music. They haven't released a record this year. They got a bunch of records. Never heard of them. So let's see. He never actually knows anything these people are talking about when I see him in shorts. So maybe I'm wrong.
Audition to play bass.
I would love to be wrong about one of these.
Was it like a phone call? What was? How did that thing start?
I've just being good friends with James and the other guys as well. You know, I think everybody threw their names in.
This is a guy, Pepper Keenan, right here. He's a person that I've become very interested in since my homelessness. He's the singer and guitarist of Corrosion of Conformity, and you can tell that look on his face. He doesn't like this guy. The length of time it took him to answer that question, he doesn't like this guy. That's not how you ask that question if you're a professional interviewer. Now, this guy's not a professional interviewer, but if you're a professional interviewer, say you're the shock jock, Jewish, long curly hair, always wears the sunglasses, New York as fuck, was basically all there was to listen to. Howard Stern. Howard Stern, if you're Howard Stern and you ask this question, you say, okay, so hey, you auditioned for Metallica, and that seems weird. And bass, what's that about? Why bass? And you know, I guess, you know, you're probably friends with them, you know, being bands or whatever. Did you guys tour or whatever? You know, I didn't get that in what the notes that I have here on you, something like that. Like this is something that if you know the scene, and I don't know the scene, but if you know the scene, you kind of already know, and you set up and you ask the question in such a way that the person responding, the person being interviewed, knows that you know, and you're setting the stage for the people who don't know. That's how a professional does it.
Who they wanted to try out, and I was one of them. You know, it happened a long time ago too when Hetfield got burned. Remember when they were on the Guns N' Roses
Oh shit! Did he play with them? I didn't know this.
tour?
Yeah.
I got the phone call on that one.
Can we go back to that look?
Remember when they were on the Guns N' Roses tour?
Yeah.
That right there is I didn't know Het got burned.
I got the phone call on that one too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And we were on tour with the Rollins band.
And that really? You got to know this.
Burned.
If the Reddit users are complimenting him on his preparedness, you got to know this.
Remember when they were on the Guns N' Roses tour?
You see the way he said, and look at his eyes. You remember when they were on that Guns N' Roses tour? Now, he's from Louisiana. This is Southern as fuck. And, okay, Bill Kelly, her and him. Same music, same scene, similar place, right? Notice the blue collar of it, the lunch pail of his outfit.
Yeah.
I got the phone call on that one too.
Really?
Really? Like it's so out of the blue that could be possible.
Mm-hmm. And
And it's not like, no way, that's so cool for you. Nothing like that.
we were on tour with the Rollins band. COC was.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and we had the hotel, and that
He doesn't want to react and stop Pepper from talking because he's like, oh, keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. But Pepper's a Southern boy. You got to be involved in this conversation. We got to kind of talk over one another, or I don't think you're in it.
the power of Q Prime scared me at that point.
Q Prime?
Q Prime is Metallica's management.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I don't know that.
My phone rang in my hotel at 3 in the morning, and it was fucking Q Prime. I was like, how the fuck did you even know I was here, or what hotel was it, you know?
Whoa.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah. And I understood why after the fact, because Hetfield had gotten severely burned on that Guns N' Roses tour.
I'm probably letting that run too long for it to not be copyright or whatever, but I love the way he talks. That's super slow. I'm gonna get to this story. I haven't thought about this in 30 years. Let me think. All right. I developed my, you call it podcasting, my mic style from not dudes like him as far as musicians, but dudes like him as far as the older Southern dudes I grew up around.
And they were putting the feelers out to try and find guitar players who could come in and he play guitar. I was like, bro, for one thing, it's a fucking stadium tour. Metallica's never been tighter in their entire fucking lives. And you want some yahoos to come jump in and try and be Hetfield. Is this what you're saying? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about management, PR, the agents, the record producers, the label itself. They don't know anything about anything except that the number of money, the number in the money column needs to be bigger than it was the last time they looked at it.
I was like, they sent me the fucking music.
How? How do you get shit?
They faxed it to the fucking hotel room. I had to go tell Henry Rollins. I was like, I don't know how to explain this.
Okay, so Henry Rollins is like punk. If you don't know these bands, you don't know these people. Henry Rollins is like the punk band of this time.
Mr. Rollins, but and my band, we were fucking kicking ass on the Rollins tour. They wanted, and I flew to Denver, Colorado the next day. And I get there, and there's, my suggestion was that we split it in half with like one of the Sepultura boys or something. Split the set in half. This is crazy.
Sepultura?
I mean, we're like,
yeah, this is crazy talking. I've always wondered about this, like, because I think they did get somebody to play guitar.
yeah, they're losing $1 million a fucking day each day they ain't playing. And this was like real shit.
Yeah.
And I'm a fucking
Yeah, it's real shit. Like, real shit.
20-year-old fucking dude going, what the? I'm sitting in a fucking place in fucking Denver, Colorado, top secret.
The fucking place in fucking Denver.
Because Hetfield was there because of the best burn center in the United States. Whoa. I'm like, this is as big as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah. We give Metallica so much shit, but man, they were making so much money.
So yeah, it was very intense. Learning that amount of songs that quickly and that good, I said, man, this ain't gonna happen, dude. And I said, split it in half would make more sense, at least get it going. And
With the Sepultura guitarists?
I think they ended up getting his tech to do it. He was a bad
His tech, Hetfield's tech? Yeah, he hears the music every night.
ass anyway. I think
Yeah.
he was in Metal Church or some shit like that.
Okay. Cool.
And there probably were guys that could have come out and do it, but they didn't get the phone call. Hetfield called, is it Andreas or Max from Sepultura?
Probably Andreas, he's solid.
Yeah, it was Andreas and me. I was like, and there was a couple other guys, I think. But
That's nuts. That's nuts to be name dropped like that by James Hetfield at that time in their career. That would be absolutely nuts.
This was Hetfield thinking off the top of his head.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we became
what a compliment.
That, you know?
Yeah, what a
It was
compliment.
A very intense moment, and I could feel the tension and what they were going through. It was a heavy thing. He was fucked up, dude. They showed me the guitar. You could see what chord he was playing.
Shit. Whoa. That's intense.
Yeah.
Could have killed him.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and that would have. Yeah, I don't know what. We probably wouldn't be talking here right now. You know.
Man.
Yeah.
Someone got fired. The pyro guy.
No, the pyro guy didn't get fired. James, that was James' fault. James has always accepted the responsibility of that. James wasn't on his mark. That was his fault, entirely his fault. And we're not casting blame or nothing like that. He wasn't in his spot. It wasn't Pyro guy's fault. There was no manual override. Het's not in his spot. Don't hit that jet. It was all on timers set to go off at points in the song, and he was supposed to stand on a little duct taped X on the stage, and he just wasn't on it. He was standing right over the vent, and it whoosh right up between his legs.
Yeah.
Because you gotta look. I was like, I guess he's got. Oh wait, he's right there. Maybe I shouldn't have.
No, that's not how it went. He should know this. That's not how it went.
I'm gonna press his button or something like.
That's not how it went.
I think.
What a stupid ass. What a stupid ass. I love that Pepper's like.
I think it's triggered once it starts. It goes.
It goes. Yeah, it was on a timer.
And he just what? I think what I'd heard had happened. Don't quote me on this, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I think the Guns N' Roses backline.
Here, can you see this? They actually have it. It was 1992. This is after the Black Album.
Line was pushed forward like a foot or two, so everything was off.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, Het.
One little thing that's different.
Het walked into it. He was in the wrong spot.
It was 1992. Yeah. So they were in Montreal.
That's crazy,
I remember
man.
hearing about it that night. It spread like wildfire.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Yep, it just whoosh right up with him right in it.
Like, dude, and then my phone rang at the fucking hotel at 3 and 4 in the morning. And they sent me the tablature of the song.
Oh God.
I was like, bro. Blackened.
No.
Shit like that. Like, man, you gotta be out of your fucking gourd.
That's funny to me, the humility there.
You know? And it was worth a shot, and they did it. And what was the text name?
I forgot. We could probably find out.
He did a good job. And then I saw him later on the tour. Yeah.
Say, hey.
And we hung out again, and we, you know.
So you actually.
It's so cool to me that guys, like, if I were in Pepper Keenan's presence, I would be making that same. Oh my God, I'm talking to Pepper Keenan. This guy has a fucking Squire. Does that say Squire? That says Fender. Okay. Anyway, I would be making that same face. That same, oh my God, I'm talking to Pepper Keenan. And I think it's so funny that Pepper Keenan is making that face about hanging out with James Hetfield.
Actually went there, and did you realize, hey, this isn't going to happen?
I mean, I could learning an entire headlining set within hours of, you know, and not at my.
John Marshall was the guy's name who took over on the tour. He did play in the band. He did play in Metal Church with. I think Metal Church was one of the bands that Kurt Hammett was in.
John
Kirk.
Marshall.
Yeah, correct.
Sick.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you're talking.
But he was there. He was there every day. We had the same thing happen with COC one time when Reed Mullen, the drummer for COC, blew his leg out, and we were supposed to play not headline, but a pretty big high up on a festival in England. And our guitar tech, this quiet, unassuming British kid, Reed didn't show up, and we were on in like an hour. And drum tech looked at me and goes, "I got it, mate." I was like, "What the fuck you mean you got it?" He goes, I got it. I was like, I just see him tapping on drums and shit, you know, setting up Reed's kit. I got it, man.
I love this story. I love this. I love this. Like, yeah, when you're there in the moment, and it's your band and it's your dude isn't there, what you're not going to do is hear, I got it, mate, and think, yeah, you got it. But that guy's heard those songs almost as many times as you have at this point.
And we had no choice. And he got on the drum kit, and I never turned around one fucking time. Whoa. He knocked the fucking dog shit out of it. that blew
That's
my
awesome.
fucking mind. I gave him the biggest hug after that, and he ended up staying with us. John Green was his name. He played.
Oh, John Green.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That
Okay.
motherfucker, he was a tech. He never. A sizzler. Ripping drummer. Kept his mouth shut. Never said a fucking word. I got it, mate.
Cool.
That was some crazy ass shit, too.
That's crazy, dude.
So I'm guessing John Marshall was probably like that. He'd been teching for Hatfield forever.
It's like
he knew the inside. I think, you know, maybe James just wanted to get somebody. I don't know. But that was the thing.
so. Fast forward, you get another phone call. Who called you?
All right, we're still not even talking about the bass audition. Good job remembering that you're talking about the bass audition, and good segue. That was an actually really good and natural segue. Okay, so fast forward, you get another phone call. That was a really good and professional segue.
We had finished that Load tour, I think, if I remember correctly. Am I wrong on this? No, it was before that. I can't remember. No, it was after that.
I mean,
because Newstead was still in the band, right? So after we did the Load tour for 3 fucking years,
yeah,
96, 97, and 98, you know, that was a whole other issue too. We got the tour book for that, and it was like this fucking thick. I was like,
3 years planned out?
It said 96. I was like, what? So, yeah, we were on for 96, 97. I got a tour jacket. It says 96, 97. Poor touring me. 96, 97, 98, I think. Yeah. Or into 98. But, yeah, it was a very another intense situation, you know. But it was another one of those things. And it was all, I was making my way up the ranks on this thing till old fucking Trujillo came in there. I was like, oh, damn.
Best of best.
Oh,
yeah.
He really thought he was going to get it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought I had him on that, you know.
What were you feeling? What were you actually feeling when you were playing the songs in the room? Did you feel comfortable? Were you like, oh shit, this is crazy? Or
I felt comfortable, but I did realize some crazy things that, like, I think Hetfield's the snare drum of Metallica.
Yeah.
You know, his right hand is the thing. You know, I'm looking at Kirk, looking at Lars, looking at Hetfield's right hand. I'm like, oh shit, you know. So yeah, between him and Lars, the mechanics of that band are between his right hand and Lars's foot.
Whoa.
You know? That's
Yeah.
the way I was perceiving it, playing with him.
That's cool.
It was intense.
What's it sound like in such like a small room? You're just like,
it was killer. It wasn't a small room. It's their headquarters.
Oh yeah.
It was big.
Damn, dude, watch that fucking documentary. Know this
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah. I should probably write a book one of these days.
You should.
Yeah, you should.
You
Who
should.
fucking knows?
Why not, man?
Yeah. Yeah, you're bringing up all these weird things I haven't thought about in forever. But yeah, that was crazy stuff.
So when did you know that like Rob was in the name, in the hat?
I mean, I was staying at James's house. You
Oh shit.
And I was offering up ideas too. I wasn't like I was just trying. I wanted the best
That's not how the documentary portrays it. That's cool.
from my buddies. You know. So yeah, it was just a big thing where we were all. Yeah, they had to figure it out. You know, I knew somebody was out there that could be the dude.
Yeah.
You know.
What a trip! You're also around him in such a raw time.
Yeah, it was very raw. Yeah, and we were buddies, man. You know, we still are. But yeah, Trujillo came into the picture, and I was like, I think that's gonna be your dude. But I had to lean into it. I was like, he can't sing.
Yeah. let me just tell you real quick.
I got these backing vocals like a mother.
And so I got these backing vocals like a mother. That's funny. That's interesting. All these magazines with James and Pepper together. That's more what I'm talking about. That Southern sound was super authentic. If you listen to Load and Reload, they're trying to sound like Southern metal. They're trying to sound like that sludgy stuff from back then. That's super cool. I don't like Trivium either. I find the guy in Trivium super fucking annoying. I was hoping I could find something interesting. It would throw me something interesting today. This is my channel again. That's why I didn't get an ad. I'm so smart. I forgot about that. This is never going to give me anything interesting. Halberds instead of spikes or pikes because they have a cutting blade. You have to let your enemy walk onto your pike. That's why. Just wants to show me music stuff. That's all I've clicked on recently. It doesn't know I have hot takes about Jesus. So much, man. There is just so much. And the crazy thing is that this stuff all claims to have just a huge, an absolutely insane number of views. Like this stuff all claims that people have watched it. And that there are dedicated audiences to all of this. Like 272,000 views on some guy named Max Snow. How good was Dimebag Darrell really? And it's just, the only thing this is, people just want to see Dimebag Darrell stuff. They don't care. They don't care about this Max Snow guy. They just want to see Dimebag Darrell stuff because his death fucked up their lives. 5 things autistic adults think are normal but actually aren't. I hate this stuff. I'm not clicking on that. The pandering to the autistic diagnosis. People just type in autism, autistic. And so there's just a whole, I like Lucas Brar, there's a whole genre of it. And people make it because people will type it in. And so in Studio, it actually tells you what the hashtags people are looking at a lot. So that you can make content that people are watching a lot. It actually makes it extremely easy for you to just do something inauthentic and unoriginal because you don't need to have ideas or anything to actually say. You just have to be present with a hashtag that people can find. And so I don't. I hate this guy. I hate this channel. I watched so much of this channel while I was homeless. Because I wanted the information. But I hate this guy.
Imagine being stuck on a flight for 30 hours. That's...
No. And also, you're such a terrible reader. Your voice is so annoying.
Imagine being stuck on a flight for 30 hours. That's more than a day trapped in a metal tube.
He doesn't even try to pause. Imagine being trapped in a flight for 30 hours. That's more than... He doesn't even try to pause. He's trying to get through these as fast as possible.
And for most people, it's a special kind of hell.
And for most people, it's a special kind of hell.
On a plane and going anywhere longer than a 3-hour flight.
His fucking every sentence is the same cadence. Do you notice this? Every sentence, same cadence.
But for one of Mastodon's members, a grueling solo journey from Hawaii to London wasn't just a test of endurance.
It wasn't just a test of endurance. He said a test of endurance.
A copy of Herman Melville's Moby Dick, picked up to pass the time, became the spark for a genuine metal masterpiece. This is the story of how that flight, a classic American novel.
I hate this journalism. I hate that journalistic opening that they all do now. All of them that have journalism training. All of them that have been taught how to write like a journalist. I hate that. But a book about a thing would turn into something, a genuine metal masterpiece. Look, if you're starting, whatever. This is only the story of how Leviathan was written.
Novel and a band on the verge of greatness collided to create Leviathan, one of the most important heavy albums of the 21st
That isn't
century.
that is not what the thumbnail said.
Imagine being stuck on a
A
flight.
book
for 30
changed his
hours.
life
That's more than a day
forever,
trapped in
but the
metal
title
dungeon.
says
For most
changed
people, it's such a
Mastodon
kind of hell. Not a
forever.
mi-
This came out a month ago when Mastodon's either the first or the second of the two of their new singles. This is more of that hashtag chasing, just out here chasing the algorithm. Doesn't actually know or care about any of this
Hey
stuff.
guys, I hate getting on a plane and going anywhere longer than a 3-hour flight. But for one of Mastodon's members, a grueling solo journey from Hawaii to London wasn't just a test of endurance. A copy of Herman Melville's Moby Dick, picked up to pass the time, became the spark for a genuine metal masterpiece. This is the story of how that flight, a classic American novel, and a band on the verge of greatness collided to create Leviathan, one of the most important heavy albums of the 21st century. Formed in 2000 in Atlanta, Georgia, Mastodon came from a
I hate when he doesn't pause. I hate his cadence. I hate it so much.
tight-knit musical community, giving rise to sludge metal and punk acts.
Mm.
Mastodon
Yeah, the sludge out of that scene is awesome.
emerged from that environment, shaped by the chaos around them. The band played constantly, taking any gig they could get, fully immersed in the scene that helped define them. They
Yeah, because a lot of bands don't take any gig they can get.
soon inked a deal with Relapse Records, who put out their album Remission in 2002. Things came together pretty quickly, but the members still held on to their day jobs. Braun Daler worked in retail, handling t-shirt inventory. Brent Hines took a construction job. Bill Kelleher spent his time rolling burritos in a restaurant, and Troy Sanders helped his father run an eBay business, packing and shipping collectibles to customers around the world. Troy even told Loudersound, "Maybe that's why to this day I'm so involved in our own band's merchandise. I know how to make sure it gets there safely because people are paying good money for our stuff." The goal
Totes.
for the four of us was to play so much and get so busy that we couldn't have day jobs. Remission
That's the goal. Play so much, work so much, stream so much that you get so busy, you're pleasing so many fans, so many customers that you no longer need the income. That the work is doing it, taking up your time, and feeding you.
marked the moment everything began to click for Mastodon, laying the groundwork for what they would later.
See, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. All these chicks today who have purple hair like that and aren't in the sludge, specifically the southern sludge metal scene, they're all posers to me.
Become songs like March of the Fire
Yep,
Ants and
Y2K
Crush the
eBay.
Destroyer felt like tightly controlled chaos, driven by Brent Hines and Bill Kelleher's complex interwoven guitar parts. Braun Daler's drumming hit with relentless precision and force, while Troy Sanders' bass and raw vocals grounded the
Troy
intensity.
is his
He's a
name.
defining example of modern
It's
progressive metal.
BBBT.
Reflecting on that period,
Bill,
Troy later
Braun,
explained that the
Brent,
band
and
wasn't trying
Troy.
to carve a new lane at all. They were simply following a shared vision and pushing themselves as far as they could go. As the smoke cleared, the stage was set for its natural opposite, water.
I love how much this is gonna get me demonetized. Thank you, Blue. I would like to believe that's true. I love in these clips. Bill hates this guy,
For its
and I've never heard of anybody named Tor who wasn't a dick.
natural opposite, water.
See the way he's just glaring into the camera, and then when he realized the guy was looking at him, he had to act like he didn't hate that guy. You don't have to get me demonetized.
Taylor has said that the band knew they wanted to do a water record, but the specific direction was still vague. That is, until that fateful flight. It was in 2003.
It's crazy that they still look the same.
Drummer Braun Daler
Like their style, their fashion, the way they look is still the same. Like you can see Braun here from a year ago.
That is until that.
He's still got the same haircut, still got the same earrings, still wears the same kind of shirts, still looks the same.
Fateful flight.
It's weird to
in
me.
2003, drummer Bron Daler had gotten married in Hawaii and was facing a long flight to the UK to rejoin the band at the start of a tour. The journey was a monster, a series of connecting flights that stretched into a 30-hour ordeal. Before boarding his flight, he
I just have to fucking ignore that guy's voice. His voice is so bad. I'm done with that. I hate his voice. I was going to ask about that podcast. I only recently learned about.
We're here to talk about new album, which is out on August 28th. Certainly here in Australia it is.
Ugh.
Some stuff around that, maybe some stuff in the future. We'll see how much time we...
Why are you such a bad speaker? Like, look at him. He's like, oh my God, how are you so bad at this? Why am I doing another YouTube interview with somebody who's not good at this, but has millions? Oh, he's got 175 subscribers. How the fuck?
We'll go from there. So,
I should feel bad about this. We should feel bad about coming at this guy with his 175 subscribers. This is a big deal for him. He's not good at this. How the fuck was he mentioned in like Guitar Magazine or something? I know about this podcast. I know about this because I read about it in a blog post. Yeah, this is what my time was spent doing when I'm not live. And so I thought, I don't know that I feel like gaming, but I do feel like ranting. I do feel like talking about these things that I want to talk about. The only thing we haven't found is somebody saying something wacky and dumb about Jesus. We could go look for Dan McClellan. I could rip into him. That'd be fun. But I should feel bad that this guy only has 175 subscribers. But I don't, because he got to talk to Troy Sanders, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that he got to talk to Troy Sanders because he only has 175 subscribers. So there's like some cancer tragedy or some stupid fucking bullshit attached to this, or they just made the YouTube channel because they secured this. But this all lopsided and weird. Look, I could have probably made a channel where I could talk to these guys, and part of this is just insecure projection, where I'm like, oh, I want to be talking to these guys, and I can't figure out how to get myself where they can notice me. And that's just not what's happening. It bothers me when they're not good. Yeah, Blue, I'm trying to use an interconnected, holistic approach here. I know a lot about the things that I'm talking. I'm just trying to apply it. He's staring out the window. It's not an interview that he wants to be doing. So how did you get a hold of his representation with 175 subscribers? This has 5,000 views. That's wild that this only has 5,000 views. I've gotten 5,000 views on a video before. Maybe that's not true.
Let's crack on, actually. One thing I wanted to start with was I read a piece a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week or two ago, that was about you started recording.
Oh my God. Write the question down. Behave like a professional. How did you get this job?
Your bass through a guitar amp, and it blew your mind with the sound, with a Marshall amp.
Yeah.
Is that the sound that's on this album?
It's tucked in there. I mean, it's definitely nothing brand new. Lemmy has played like that for his whole career. Other bass players have run through guitar amps as well, but I just never had tried it.
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to do. I was trying to get the money together. I had the bass. I had a good amp. I was trying to get a good guitar amp that could handle the lows, and I was going to run it through a dual chain of the bass and the guitar amp, and I was going to run an octaver, and I was going to split the chain so that the octave pedal went through the guitar amp, so I had both octaves.
But man, when Kurt Ballou suggested we try that, it just ripped my face off, and it was just badass. But within the layers of Mastodon, there's always a clean...
Oh, that's so cool. That's a cool elective to be offered in a high school. Uh, Film and culture, art history. That's cool. Those are cool electives. Yeah, that's awesome. It's great that you guys are able to connect on her education in that way.
Tone of bass and a dirty tone. So the
Yes.
dirty tone that's layered in the songs is the gnarly Marshall guitar amp. And it sounds great, but it's never really in the forefront with our band because, we've got two guitars, just, two wizards on guitars, left and right. The drummer behind me, he's playing like a maniac. There's lots of synth and keys and vocal patterns going on. So there's a lot. So it's not a bass forward band, never has been, and I'm okay
No.
with that. But it was cool to experiment and be excited about a bass tone, the simple.
Oh, that's very cool. Um, I hope that she finds her way to it. I hope she finds a bunch of success at it. Is she playing Fallout 76? I know they play a bunch of old tunes.
Things.
Nice. Hey, the simple thing.
Can I don't I used to watch a bunch of I feel like what I'm doing is what this guy is doing. I can't watch any more of that. These opportunities to hear these musicians speak isn't worth even if that guy cannot possibly be monetized. It's just not worth letting those people think that they're good at what they do. This guy gets on my nerves. This is what I feel like I'm doing. The reason I don't watch this is because like you don't have anything to add.
Okay. So this is one that Brian.
He just like kind of smiles and kind of just smiles and watches and sips his coffee. Make sure that you can see his merch. He kind of wears a shirt. I mean, it's Hall and Oates, but it's definitely not a Hall and Oates merch shirt. So this is a knockoff. I know it's Hell and Oates. You drum for your church, sir? That's awesome. I wish I could play drums. Yeah, Blue. I talk about that a lot, that our children need to know what the past was actually like. That a lot of these conversations that I'm getting into, a lot of these are these not these conversations, a lot of these reactions that I'm having to these videos are people sitting behind mics who don't actually know what the past was like. And when you learn what the past was actually like, the later that you learn what the past was actually like, the more sensitive you are to it. And if you learn late enough, you'll be so sensitive that you'll reject it entirely. I kind of I kind of disagree with you. I kind of think it's the opposite. I think Hunter S. Thompson was an asshole, and I assume that he's wrong about everything. Um, oh no. I think my internet just clipped out. I love Phil Gillick, Phil K. Dick. Well, yeah, drugs and being a diagnosed schizophrenic messed him up too, Phil Dick. Um, but there's a word in the Proto-Indo-European language that we've reconstructed over the last couple of hundred years of professional linguistics, and that word is ungui, or it sounds something like ungui, and ungui is the nothing. The ngui's the nothing that comes when tribes and human communities are reduced to mere survival. And that is the first fight. The first fight is against the ungui. The first fight is against chaos. Think about the Greek religion where Nemesis and Here, my internet keeps blinking in and out. But the great evil is chaos and destruction. And fear is ignorance. So
for example, like I could imagine that what your daughter is feeling when she says that she's, upset with you for not teaching her about the evils of pre-modern warfare. What she's talking about is that you didn't teach her what she could be afraid of, so she knows what not to be afraid of, so she knows what properly to be afraid of. My internet is blanked out. Hmm. Okay. I guess the chat just broke on their end. I can't tell. It's telling me that this is broken, but YouTube might have turned me off for copyright reasons, and that just has to be fine, I guess. But this is what I'm trying to say is I feel like on some level this is what I'm doing. Yeah, unable to reconnect. They might have turned off my chat, but my stream didn't get busted. I don't know. Anyway, chaos and destruction and humans destroying one another and families being ripped apart and the land being uninhabitable and homes being left empty. These are the worst possible thing, and so the last thing after that is mere survival, where even the environment is hostile. The fight against chaos is things like regulatory boards and roads and mega corporations and standing armies, engagement in the fight is to not be disordered. It is to not be chaotic. In fact, entropy, the nothing, is the tendency of systems and objects to discorporate over time